I want to share a quick thought this morning, and related to a personal story I just had. This happened to me on Friday. So on Friday, I was outside, just enjoying a beautiful day, and actually enjoying a conversation with a fellow student, and we were doing that, and I noticed that there were two young ladies walking on the sidewalk, right? So our sidewalk right in front. I noticed two young ladies, and it was like one something. I have to imagine they were probably high school or middle school students. I don't know. If they were in middle school, they were probably in 8th grade. If they were in high school, they were in 9th grade. That's where I would classify these two young ladies, probably 8th grade, 9th grade girls. And I noticed that they stopped, and that our sandwich sign, forward sign, caught their attention. Right, so everyone comes in right through the front here, and you guys all see the sandwich board sign, right? Is there anything special about that sandwich board sign? What is the sandwich board sign? The A-frame sign, the sign that kind of stands out there, has the information we're what's special about those signs? Makes you think of sandwiches? What's special about it?
It's advertising. Okay,
it's advertising. Right, so it's definitely important, right? It serves a purpose, right? Have you guys noticed all the signage out front? Right, we have some great signs, and it's really important. We're new to the community, right? We want people to know that we are here, and so particularly this sign, it has something attached to it. You guys know what that is? A balloon. Yeah. You guys notice that? Yeah. Right? I actually looked it up, and the technical name to this, because it's not like a regular balloon. The technical name is a balloon bobber. That's the technical name. What is going on up right here today? They're like pouring stuff. They got their toaster out. You know, it's like a full-on Denny's right here. Balloon bobber is the name of this device, right? And so you guys have noticed it. You've seen it. Maybe you haven't paid focused attention to it. But it is a balloon bobber. It's like a beach ball more than a balloon, and it has it's a plastic attachment, right? And it's meant to catch people's eye. And guess what? It caught these girls' eye on Friday, right? These girls were walking by, and I didn't want to say it, but I was hanging out at the gazebo underneath the little area there, the forbidden area. I'm sorry, but that's where I was. And I was noticing that they were checking out the sign, right? They were checking out the sign, and I was like, awesome, we've got 2 new students. Sweet. Or maybe they're thinking about, family member. But then I noticed that their eyes aren't really on the information, their eyes are on the balloon bobber. and then, and I start to be like, oh, it starts to go from awesome to whoa, what's going on here? And my excitement starts to become concern, okay? Because they're eyeballing the balloon bobber, and then and they're kind of talking back and forth. They seem like friends. Was it you two? It seemed like they were really friendly, and they were giggling, and have you guys ever noticed when someone is about to make they're up to no good? Can you guys tell when someone's up to no good? Yeah. That intuition started to come into me. So I actually went from having this really important conversation with the students, so they caught my attention, and I was looking, and it made me stand up. Nice. It made me stand up, because what I saw next was I saw that they started to tug at it. And I was like, maybe they're just making sure that it's in their tight. So I just kind of held back. But then I noticed that they started to really tug at it, to the point where they started moving the sign, right? And it was at this point that my love for God and fire kicked in. And I said, hey! So I said, and I raised my hand like I was in class. I was like, hey! Right? I said, hey! And guys, they saw me. And I wish that was the end of the story. But once they saw me, it's almost like their adrenaline kicked in. And their super Hulk strength kicked in. And they just ripped the whole thing right off the sign. And that's when I realized what's going on. Guys, they were stealing our balloon bomb. So then, I'm going to finish the story in a little bit. Okay? Because I want to share a truth with this personal story. Okay? And this truth is, and I don't know where you're at with this today or not, but I want to tell this. Speak this truth to you. And that's that God has a relentless type of love for us. Okay? God has a relentless type of love for us. Okay? And I believe this mainly because I believe what Jesus did for me when he came to earth and died for me. Right? That is a demonstration of a relentless love. But I also believe it because it's taught in many places in Scripture. I just want to share 2 verses with you guys this morning, okay, that made me think about God's relentless love for you, okay? And before I do that, I wanted to really understand this word relentless for myself, and as I spoke about it, and so I Googled it, and I found a whole bunch of synonyms, right? A synonym is a word that means the same thing. Don't make fun of me. I know I struggle to say it. Right? But when I say that God has a relentless love for us, when I say God has a relentless love for you, here's what I mean. God's love is persistent. Okay? This word relentless can also mean persistent. God's love for you is constant. God's love for you is non-stop. Okay? God's love for you is never ending. These words only get better, by the way. Okay? God's love for you is unceasing. Has anyone ever said, I unceasingly love you? Write that in Valentine's next year. Okay? God's love is untiring. Key word there, untiring. God's love, I love this word. I might make it a t-shirt. God's love is tenacious. Tenacious. Right? And so there's this story that comes out of a teaching moment that Jesus has. Right? So Jesus lived 2,000 years ago, and he lived in a very different time as us. Right? And some of the teachings in the Bible, like, unless you understand the cultural context, they're just like, what? That's weird. Right? But it's just 2,000 years ago, it was a way different, right, role. And so, at the time of Jesus, there was just this separation of people. Right? There were the sinners and the people that were good with God, right? And I think there's parts of that in today's society, right? Let me ask you this: have you ever felt like you just didn't belong and you weren't good enough, or you were judged? Have you ever felt judged? Have you ever felt like an outsider, an outcast? Right? As someone who people shun on you. Like when they look at you, they're like, right? They just kind of make that face that like maybe you had too many frijoles in the morning, kind of thing, right? Well, during the time of Jesus, there was people that were treated that way, and it says that tax collectors and just straight up sinners, right? People who just were not accepted by the religious, devout Jews were coming near to Jesus, right? And these people would consider the tax collectors and sinners lost. They would say, man, they're lost. Están perdidos. How many of your parents ever said, estás perdido? Right? Antoine, right? He's the only one. I know my parents would say that, right? They'd be like, Carlos, estás perdido. Córtate ese pelo. Right? That's what my dad, he would describe, right? This word perdido is lost. And so, Jesus, he says this parable about God's love for the lost, right? God's love for the outsider, God's love for the sinner. And he says this. He says, suppose a woman has 10 silver coins and loses one. Doesn't she light a lamp, sweep the house, and search carefully until she finds it? Right? Suppose a woman has 10 silver coins and loses one. How many of you guys have ever lost something? You all have. Everyone. You've all lost something. Let me ask you this. If you had 10 coins, 10 quarters, and you lost one, how long or how much effort would you put forth in finding it? Be real.
A lot.
What's a lot? I would say that no one's going to look for that quarter for more than 7 minutes. I'll give you 7 minutes, Brian, and then you're going to give up. A quarter, come on. Right? A quarter, you're not going to look for very long. Right? I would say this, for me today, right? If I had $10 in my pocket, and I lost one of those dollars today, I would look for that dollar for 10 to 20 seconds. Right? I would go, at it, where's it at? That's it, it's lost. Right? That's it. Here's the thing though, and this is a true story. Back in high school, if I lost $1, it meant I didn't get my lunch that day. So back in high school, what was this, like 3 years ago? 3 years ago, okay? When I lost $1, man, I would look for that dollar because that dollar back then had way more worth. Because here's what I did with $1. I bought a chimichanga burrito, right, in high school, right? And if I didn't have that dollar, I didn't eat that day. And I played ball, guys. I was a baller in high school. Okay? And if I didn't have my burrito, I didn't have the energy, right, to put the jukes on. So that was a big deal. See, for this woman, here's why I'm saying this. The amount of effort that you put forth in searching something is purely based on the amount of value you have on that thing. Right? If you lost a quarter, you wouldn't waste much time looking for it. But if you lost $100, some of you guys would get in a fight for $100. Right? Because that has value. Well, to this woman, here's the thing. This coin in the original language meant a day's worth of wages. That completely changes it, right? So when Jesus says, suppose a woman had 10 coins and loses one, he is saying, suppose a woman loses a day's worth of wages in a culture where, do you think they had a savings account? Do you think that they had, all this money just put away, like I have a retirement fund? No, this is a developing culture, right? So a day's worth of money could mean devastation for the family. And so here's this picture. Something very valuable has been lost to this woman, for this woman. And so he says, man, she's gonna light a lamp. She's gonna sweep the house, and she's not gonna stop until she finds it. Here's my point, guys. God will not stop pursuing you, a relationship with you. He will not stop until he has it. For the rest of your life, God will be knocking on the door of your heart. Because God has a relentless love for you. He's relentless. He's not going to give up the chase to capture your heart. And so, on Friday, when I saw that these two young ladies were going to be taking Cloud and Fire's balloon box, there was a fire lit in me. Right? There was a relentless love stirred in me. Because as I started to approach them, right, so again, they take it off, they see me hollering, and then they were giggling, starting to run down the street, right? So, guys, I just take off. I just take off. I don't even question it. I don't even question it. They are taking our balloon bopper. And so I decide in that moment that I'm going to pursue these two young ladies. Right? And so I take off. They notice I'm running after them. And so then they start running a little faster. Right? And so now I'm on Arleta Boulevard and they're halfway down the street. Right? And they're laughing because they think it's funny. And look at this old guy. They're probably, look at this old guy. Right? And so they're running and they look back and they notice I'm still running. Right? So they're laughing and they're running. We're down the street, guys. And then they turn around and they notice, wow, he's still running and he's closer. Right? And so this starts to develop. I'm going right now. I'll be honest with you guys, I almost tripped. I hit, and I almost tripped. And I think that even stirred up a greater commitment. It was like, I'm in this. Guys, here was my mentality in that moment. I was willing to chase them back down to Van Nuys where we used to be. My goal was to get that balloon back. Right? And so I'm chasing them down, guys, and I'm getting closer and closer, and I'm noticing that their 13-year-old legs are going to give out before my 23-year-old legs. That's just the way it's going to happen. And I noticed that it's just a matter of time. And so they're looking back, and what happens, Leah, is that, a few smiles turn to like concerns. Every time they look back, I notice their smile goes away less and less. Right? And so what they decide is they decide to ditch the balloon. Right? They ditch the balloon, and I'm running, and it's no longer about the balloon, guys. So I pick up the balloon and I continue to chase them, and they see that. And now at this point, I think they realize they're going to have to call the cops. And so it wasn't until I thought that, and said, man, and they're probably going to call the cops, that I decided, okay, Carlos, you're crazy. You have to move. Right? But here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. I was committed to pursue those young ladies until I got our balloon back.
What makes you think they're not going to come?
Right? And not in this weird way, right? That was a little weird and strange. I get it. But here's the thing. God is pursuing all of you, right? He is pursuing you in a righteous kind of way, in a righteous kind of love, in a father kind of love. He's pursuing a relationship with you. And I'm here to tell you that. It's because you are valuable to him. And he's not going to give up until he has you. All right? And that's my message for you guys today.